the Orlando game, they're a very physical team, and it feels like when a team kind of gets an identity, and it's known around the league that, I don't want to say it's called a little different, but it feels like those games tend to be more physical.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the sense that that is the case when you play against certain teams, that it's more physical, not just because of how they play, but how the game, the flow of the game goes and how it's allowed to be officiated?
Yeah, definitely. Like, when they're physical like that, it sets the tone of the game, and the refs act accordingly. So we try to be as physical as we can be as well. So just.
OG, with Cat, he's playing at like an all-star level here, averaging 25 and 14. Do you think he's kind of exceeded expectations since the trade? And did you guys expect that he would be playing at this level when you got him?
I don't think he's exceeded. We knew he was a great player. We've been playing against him for years. We knew what he was capable of. We knew how talented he is. So this isn't a surprise.
Is this the best you've seen him play over a continued period of time?
The most I've paid attention, he's my teammate now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's had really good stretches in Minnesota before, but yeah, he impresses us every day. He's a great teammate. We love having him.
You just played your first game back in Toronto. What do you sense this game means to him going back to Minnesota?
He was there for how many years? So I'd be happy to be back for sure. But also, he probably just wants to win the game, just like any other game.
What have you learned about Cat now that you've been teammates for a few months now, that maybe something you didn't know about him?
I don't know.
Is he as funny as he thinks you're funny?
Yeah, he's really funny. he is funny. I didn't know that, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know he was funny.
I assume you've guarded Julius in the past. Just what is the challenge there if you end up on him?
Oh, yeah, Jules is a great player. He can do it all. Really versatile. Can pass, shoot, drive. Great player.
So you talk on the court, talk trash?
No, not really. I don't think so. I don't remember if I did.
When somebody says stuff to you, you just kind of brush it off?
Yeah, people don't really say anything to me, though. Sometimes, but...
You said Cat's funny. Do you remember any funny things in particular he said?
He says something funny every day. He texts funny stuff.
Like what?
I can't share about something. I need consent to share.
You're putting up some big numbers here, playing at like an all-star level. Do you feel this is kind of the best you've ever played, or some of the best you've ever played?
I don't think so. I think I got more I could give and do and play better. But it's just different. It's just different role I'm in. I'm in a different role. Like I said before, I just want to be a superstar in my role, whatever that role may be for our team. And I actually be the 5 here, and I just want to be the best I could be.
Yeah, like a point of emphasis in your practices for Orlando in this one. Is there something specific that you're working on? Because you're talking about things that you learned from games.
Yeah, just basically there's one or two things that you focus on both sides of the ball that you prioritize, and sometimes there's fundamentals that apply to both, that whether you're down and balanced, whether you're communicating, how you're communicating, and I think all those things are things that you could always do better, and having awareness as to what's going on, whatever scheme is being deployed against us, what our points of emphasis are on attacking things, that sort of thing.
You obviously had Karl early in his career in Minnesota. What is the difference now between him then and now? And is this the best you've seen him play his all-around game?
Yeah, I think experience is a great teacher. I think that he's been through a lot of different things. I think he's learned a lot. He's a lot stronger now than he was then. He's always had great touch. He's always had really good instincts. But I think being in big games and that sort of thing, and adapting to different teammates, you learn from your teammates also. And I think understanding that you have to do it within a team concept, and that requires a lot of sacrifice. And I think he's demonstrated that throughout his career, his willingness to sacrifice and put the team first. And I thought last year, getting to the conference finals, when you look at all the steps that he's taken and his willingness to share with his teammates is, usually that's a byproduct of your experience. You realize that you're not doing it by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. But I think he's grown a lot each year that he's been in the league.
Has he exceeded your expectations this year? I mean, he's playing at an all-star level, averaging 25 and 14.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I guess I had pretty high expectations for him. And I thought, when I had him as a young player, I knew he was a great rebounder then, and I felt he'd be able to adapt to going back to the center position. And then the offense, he's always, whatever you asked him to do, he's always done. Whether you're playing 5 out away from the basket, you could play him back to the basket, you could put it on the floor. I'd say he's probably a better passer now than he was then. He sees things a lot earlier. I think the double team he's more comfortable with, and knowing, okay, it's coming from here. That means there's easy offense on the backside. And so I think those things, and I think he knows the players a lot better, his opponents. So I think that helps, and he knows how teams are going to defend him. And then just playing off of his teammates, I think he's adapted quite well. But I think he's gone through that. This league is a lot of changes. I think, when Minnesota made the trade for Rudy, that changed what he was doing, and he adapted very well to that.
Talking to Jalen after the Orlando game about kind of screening is important, but against that team specifically, how important screening is. And feel free to correct me if you think otherwise. But I thought Cat had a pretty good screening game against the Magic. How have you seen him evolve as a screener throughout the course of the season? And how, it's obviously on paper, not the thing people talk about, but kind of points to chemistry and guards and bigs getting.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of that, it's twofold, because it also requires the guard to set up the screen. And then how are they defending the screen? Are they blitzing? If they're blitzing, that means, short roll, they're outside of your shoulders, find the pocket. Are they going under? That means you have to twist. You have to get the bottom half of the body. So I think it's working together and understanding, the scheme that you're trying to attack. And then a screen's really an act of unselfishness, too. And we always say the more you help somebody else, the more you really help yourself. And I think getting Jalen downhill is it creates a big advantage for us. And when teams double team, I think playing out of the pocket and giving them the 3 outlets so we can get to the second pass, which is going to get us a wide open shot. And oftentimes, if we don't get the open shot, we're going to get the second shot too, because we have them in rotation.
And kind of with that, you talk about Cat's ability to adapt. It felt like in the Orlando game he was using himself more to help get guys open than he was worried about his own shots. I guess, is that something too that you reference, and just knowing what the game needs?
Yeah, well, I think both he and Jalen are going to, they're going to get double teamed quite a bit. So then it requires everyone to understand how you work off of that. And if everyone's, working in sync with each other, that you're going to get easy shots. And that's what we want. We want as many easy shots as we can get. So it's, we want to try to beat the defense down the floor and attack them before they're set. But anytime we can get 2 onto the ball and force the defense to collapse, we feel there's a lot of good things that come from that as well.
Tom, obviously, OG can guard small guys like bigger guys. What is the challenge of him potentially going up against Julius?
Yeah, same. And, they're big. And we faced a little bit of that with Orlando as well. And so it's not only the initial part, but it's going to be the finish. The finish of the defense is, that's got to be the strongest part of the defense, from the challenge of the shot to the rebound, because you're talking about, Gobert and Julius, a great offensive rebounder, but then you got Naz Reid and you got McDaniels and you got Edwards who's going to crash as well. So that they're very athletic, and if we don't have contact, it could be a problem.
You see the Westchester game where Landry got back on the floor, got 2 minutes, and if so, what did you think of?
Yeah, I watched the game last night. I thought we had a number of guys play well, so it was encouraging just to see him out there. But I thought T.J. Warren had a big game for us. So that was good to see. I liked that. Tyler didn't score a lot, but I liked the way he played. I thought the most important thing was finding a way to win. Jacob had a big game, I thought they played really well as a team, and I liked that.
And having Landry back playing.
Yeah, well, I think it's good to see him out there healthy again, and then there's a number of things that have to happen before he can play with us.
What's your overall thoughts on the NBA Cup? Do you think it's good for the league? I mean, obviously you guys wanted to go further, but do you think it's something that will continue and it's good for the NBA?
Yeah, I think there's, for the fans, I think it's really exciting, but I think there's still, I think everyone's trying to figure out, what are some of the other things that come out of that, and like scheduling, I think that's something that, we have to take a look at. Like now there was a heavy early schedule, and then there's the break, and what does that all mean? And so I think it's a work in progress. I think it's been good.